It started as a normal night in Los Angeles. But what went down between Cardi B and her personal security guard has fans absolutely shook. Reports are flying that the Bodak Yellow, Rapa, found herself in the middle of a jaw-dropping confrontation that spiraled completely out of control. And the footage that's allegedly circulating online? It's got everyone talking. Sources close to Cardi claim she's been feeling watched for weeks, whispering that someone from her own team might be betraying her trust. But nobody expected the tension to explode the way it did. Not in public, not with cameras rolling, and definitely not with that level of chaos. Witnesses describe the scene as pure mayhem, with Cardi shouting, her security shouting back, and bystanders frozen in disbelief. Some say it was over a secret recording. Others claim money went missing, but the truth, it's way messier than anyone imagined. The situation has allegedly divided her inner circle, sparked rumors about betrayal from within, and left Cardi's fans demanding answers. So what really happened between Cardi B and her security guard that night? Buckle up, because this story only gets crazier from here. It all started with what seemed like an ordinary Saturday night at a luxury hotel in Los Angeles. Cardi B had just wrapped up a studio session that stretched way past midnight. Her team was exhausted, her mood was tense, and all she wanted was to slip quietly into her suite and rest. But that night was about to take a turn that no one could have seen coming. According to witnesses, Cardi's usually tight-knit entourage seemed unusually distant. Her main security guard, a tall man named Derek, who had been by her side for nearly 3 years, was pacing near the elevators, scrolling through his phone like he was waiting for something. Cardi noticed it, and she didn't like the look on his face. She reportedly said in a low but sharp voice, "What's wrong with you, Derek? Why you acting like that?" Derek barely looked up. "Nothing, just handling something real quick," he muttered. But Cardi wasn't convinced. Something about his tone made her uneasy. Her assistant, Leah, later told sources that Cardi had been on edge for weeks, convinced someone close to her was leaking details of her private life to gossip pages. Every time a story popped up about where she'd been or what she'd said behind closed doors, she'd get that sinking feeling again. Someone was feeding the media. Someone she trusted. That night, as the elevator doors opened, Cardi's energy shifted. She stopped just before stepping in, looked directly at Derek, and said quietly, "I know it's you." Derek froze, his thumb hovering over his phone screen. "What you talking about?" he asked, his voice trembling just a little. Cardi crossed her arms. "Don T. Play dumb. The blogs knew I was here before I even checked in. Only a few people knew my plans, and you one of them." The hallway fell silent except for the distant hum of hotel music. Derek's face hardened. "I ain't never leaked nothing about you. You better watch what you say." Leah tried to step in, whispering Cardi, "Let's just go upstairs." But Cardi wasn't having it. "Nah, I'm tired of people lying to me," she snapped. "If I find out you sold me out, Derek, I swear." Before she could finish, Derek's phone buzzed again. Cardi lunged forward and snatched it from his hand. Gasps echoed through the hallway as she started scrolling furiously through his messages. Derek tried to grab it back, but she turned away, her eyes wide. "What's this?" she shouted, holding up the screen. It showed a message thread with someone saved as press plug. There were timestamps, photos, and even short video clips, some taken backstage at private events. Cardi's voice shook with rage. "You've been recording me," she screamed. Derek tried to explain, saying it wasn't what it looked like, that he'd been sending footage to someone from management for documentation. But Cardi wasn't buying it. "Stop lying," she yelled, her voice echoing down the corridor at that point. 2 hotel staff members appeared from around the corner, unsure what to do. Derek's face had gone pale. "You don't understand," he said desperately. "They threatened me. I had to send them something just to keep him off me." Cardi blinked in disbelief. "They? Who's they?" she demanded. Derek looked at her, eyes darting nervously toward the exit. "You don't want to know," he whispered. Leah could feel the tension thickening like smoke. She grabbed Cardi's arm, begging her to calm down, but Cardi was shaking. "Nah, "You tell me right now," she said. "Who got you spying on me?" Derek didn't answer. Instead, he took a step back, as if deciding whether to run. And then, in a flash, he turned and bolted down the hallway. The sudden motion sent Cardi's adrenaline soaring. She chased after him, shouting, "Don't you walk away from me, Derek." By the time they reached the hotel lobby, several bystanders had their phones out. Some captured blurry videos that would later flood social media, showing Cardi arguing with her own security guard near the glass doors. Witnesses claimed they heard her yelling something about betrayal and "you set me up." Derek tried to defend himself, saying she didn't know the whole story, that someone much higher up was pulling strings. Security from the hotel intervened, trying to defuse the situation. Cardi's manager arrived moments later, his face pale with panic. "What's going on here?" he demanded, but Cardi was beyond reason. "He'd been leaking my business to the blogs," she shouted. "He got videos, messages, everything." Derek denied it all, insisting he was being framed. "Someone hacked my phone," he said, his voice cracking. "They planted that stuff. I swear to God." But Cardi wasn't listening. She handed the phone to her manager and stormed off toward the private elevator. "I'm done," she said. "He's fired. I don't care what anybody says." As she disappeared upstairs, the chaos didn't stop. Derek stood frozen in the lobby, trembling, while her manager flipped through the phone. What he saw made his eyes widen. There were messages not just with press plug, but with another contact labeled L. Woods. One of the messages read, "She's starting to suspect. I'll handle it." The timestamp was from just an hour before. The manager looked up at Derek slowly. "Who's L. Woods?" he asked. Derek's lips quivered. "I can't talk about that here," he muttered. Meanwhile, upstairs, Cardi was pacing her suite, ranting to Leah about betrayal. "I pay these people good money to protect me, and they, the ones selling my life to the blogs," she said, tears welling up. Leah tried to calm her, offering water, but Cardi couldn't stop. "Every time I trust somebody, they do me dirty," she said, shaking her head. "First people in the label, now my own team." Outside her door, paparazzi had already gathered. Someone had leaked word of the hotel drama, and fans were flooding social media with hashtags. Hashtag Cardi Drama started trending within an hour. People were posting blurry clips, wild theories, and even fake screenshots claiming to know the real story. Some fans defended Cardi, saying she had every right to confront someone she suspected of betrayal. Others accused her of overreacting. By morning, the headlines were everywhere. Cardi B involved in heated altercation with bodyguard. One outlet wrote, "Exclusive Cardi fires security over leaked footage," another claimed. Cardi's team released a short statement saying she was taking time to process a deeply personal situation. But that only fueled speculation. What no one knew yet was that the situation was far from over. Derek hadn't disappeared quietly. Later that morning, he reached out to a well-known gossip blogger under an anonymous name. His message was short but chilling. "You think you know the story, but Cardi's hiding way more than she's saying." The blogger, intrigued, pressed for details. Derek agreed to meet, but only if they promised anonymity. He claimed he had proof that Cardi's management had been secretly recording her for months, tracking her movements and controlling who she could trust. The blogger, skeptical but interested, agreed to hear him out. As Cardi sat in her suite, scrolling through the flood of online reactions, she had no idea that the man she just fired was already setting the stage for a scandal that would explode in ways she couldn't imagine. The betrayal she thought she uncovered was only the beginning, and soon it would drag everyone around her into a storm of lies, fear, and shocking revelations that would shake her world to its core. And just when she thought things couldn't possibly get worse, a knock on her hotel door changed everything. Cardi froze when she heard the knock. It wasn't light or hesitant. It was sharp, deliberate, like someone wanted her to know they weren't leaving until she answered. Leah looked up from the couch, worry spreading across her face. "Who is that?" she whispered. Cardi hesitated, then straightened up. "I don't know," she said quietly. walking to the door. She looked through the peephole, but whoever it was stood off to the side. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice still trembling from the night before. A low voice responded, "It's management." She frowned, glancing back at Leah before unlocking the door. Standing there was Marco, her longtime manager, looking tense and pale. He stepped inside quickly and closed the door behind him. "We need to talk," he said, "about Derek." Cardi folded her arms. "I already said I'm done with him. He's fired." Marco shook his head. "It's not that simple." Sat down, rubbing his temples. "I checked the phone you gave me," he continued. "Those messages. There's more than what we thought. And that name, L. Woods. It's not random." Cardi narrowed her eyes. "Who is it?" Marco looked up at her. "Laura Woods. She works for one of the major tabloid agencies. She's been paying insiders for months to get dirt on you. But here's the problem, she's not just paying Derek." Leah gasped softly. "What do you mean?" Marco hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Someone else on your team's been talking to her. Someone close." Cardi's jaw tightened. "Close? Like who?" He didn't answer right away. "We're still figuring that out," he said finally. "But I think Derek was being blackmailed. Someone set him up to take the fall while they stayed clean." Cardi slumped onto the couch, covering her face with her hands. "This is insane," she muttered. "I can't even trust my own people anymore." Leah sat beside her, trying to comfort her, but Cardi pulled away. "No," she said. "I need to know everything. Who's behind this? Why now?" Meanwhile, across town, Derek sat in a dimly lit diner, nervously sipping black coffee. His hoodie was pulled low over his face. Across from him sat the blogger he'd contacted the night before, a woman known online as T-Queen. She pressed record on her phone and leaned forward. "You said you had proof," she said. Derek nodded, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. "I do. But if this gets out, I'm done for." He unlocked his phone and pulled up a folder labeled Backups. Inside were dozens of audio clips, screenshots and videos, some of Cardi, some of her team, and some of private conversations between her management and other industry people. T-Queen's eyes widened. "Where did you get all this?" she asked. Derek lowered his voice. "I didn't record her for fun. They told me to. They said it was for security documentation. But then I realized those files were being sold to press people before I even sent them to the office. Someone was intercepting them." T-Queen's expression shifted from curiosity to shock. "So you're saying Cardi's team's been leaking their own stuff?" Derek nodded slowly. "They made it look like I was the leak, so she'd fire me. Now I'm out. They can keep doing it without suspicion." She sat back, processing what he said. "This could blow up everything," she whispered. Derek sighed. "Yeah, and I don't want it to. I just want my name cleared. I just want my name cleared." Back at the hotel, Marco's phone buzzed. He checked the screen and frowned. "This can't be real," he muttered. Cardi leaned over. "What's going on?" Marco turned the screen toward her. It was a post from T-Queen's blog. The headline read, "Exclusive. Former Cardi B security claims inside sabotage by her own management." Cardi's blood ran cold. "No way," she said under her breath. "How does she already know about this?" Marco's face turned red. "That means Derek talked. He's trying to flip the narrative." Cardi stood up suddenly. "Then let him talk," she snapped. "Because if he wants a war, he's gonna get one." She grabbed her phone and opened her notes app, typing furiously. "You're not really gonna post something right now, are you?" Leah asked cautiously. "You think I'm gonna stay quiet while people saying I did something wrong?" Cardi said. "Nah, they've gone here from me." Within minutes, she went live on Instagram. Her hair was pulled up, her eyes fierce, her tone sharp. "I don't usually address this kind of mess," she said, staring straight into the camera. "But let me make something clear, and nobody gonna sit here and lie on my name. I don't care who you are. You betray me, you've done." Her comments flooded instantly, fans spamming fire emojis, question marks, and wild theories. She didn't name Derek, but everyone knew who she meant. The live went viral within minutes, shared across every gossip account online. But the timing couldn't have been worse, because just as Cardi was wrapping up, T-Queen posted another update. This time, it included a short audio clip of what sounded like Marco's voice, saying, "Keep her distracted. We can't let her see those contracts yet." The post exploded. Fans were shocked. Was her manager involved too? Marco's phone started buzzing nonstop. "Oh my God," Leah whispered. "That's your voice." Marco's face went pale. "That's taken out of context," he shouted. "That was from a meeting months ago." Cardi stared at him, her expression unreadable. "Context or not, it don't sound good," she said. "Why you talking about keeping me distracted?" Marco ran his hand through his hair. "You gotta believe me, Cardi," he said. "We were trying to protect you from bad deals. That's all it was." But Cardi was already stepping away. "You sound just like him," she said quietly, always saying it's not what it looks like. Outside the hotel, news vans were beginning to line the street. Paparazzi shouted her name, asking about the fight, about Derek, about the leaked audio. Fans were camping on Twitter Spaces, arguing over who betrayed who. Some believed Cardi was the victim of manipulation, while others suspected she'd orchestrated the drama herself for attention. The internet was divided, and Cardi was losing control of the story. Derek, watching it all unfold from his motel room, felt a twisted mix of regret and satisfaction. "Now she knows how it feels," he muttered to himself. But when his phone rang and he saw the caller IDL, Woods' heart stopped. He answered cautiously. "What do you want?" he asked. Lara's voice was calm, cold. "You talk too much," she said. Derek froze. "What's that supposed to mean?" There was a pause. "You were useful," she said, "but you've become a liability." The line went dead. Derek looked around the room, his pulse racing. He could have sworn he saw a black car parked across the street, the same one that had followed him from the diner. Meanwhile, upstairs in Cardi's suite, Leah scrolled through her phone, whispering updates to Cardi. "People are saying Derek might have proof you were recorded without consent," she said. Cardi blinked. "Recorded, like, in my house?" Leah nodded slowly. "That's what they're claiming." Cardi's mind was spinning. "Nah," she said, her voice low. "If that's true, then this goes way deeper than I thought." Marco looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" Cardi turned toward him. "I mean, someone's been watching me. Not just for gossip like watching me." A chill settled over the room. No one spoke for a moment. Outside, sirens wailed faintly in the distance. The chaos had only begun to unfold, and already the walls around Cardi's carefully controlled life were starting to crumble. But the worst part? She still didn't know who was pulling the strings or how far they were willing to go to keep their secrets buried. And as Cardi stared out the window at the flashing lights below, she whispered to herself, "Someone's gonna pay for this." But she had no idea how close the danger already was. The next morning, the city felt heavy with gossip. Cardi hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw flashes of betrayal. Derek's face, Marco's panicked denial, Leah's nervous glances. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Journalists begging for statements, fans tagging her in theories, and publicists advising her to stay silent. But silence had never been her thing. By noon, she was pacing across her suite, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses, even though the curtains were drawn. Leah sat quietly at the table, scrolling through messages. "You're trending again," she murmured. "Everybody talking about that audio clip." Cardi groaned. "I can't even breathe without the internet macking it a movie." She stopped pacing and looked at Leah. "We gotta find out who's behind this. I ain't letting them win." Just then, Marco entered the suite, looking exhausted and disheveled. "We got a bigger problem," he said, dropping a stack of printed screenshots on the coffee table. Cardi eyed him suspiciously. "What now?" He pointed at the top page. "That blogger, T-Queen. She's not just talking to Derek anymore. Someone else from your circle's feeding her more stuff." Cardi snatched the papers and scanned through them. Her hands started shaking. The screenshots showed a conversation between T-Queen and someone using the handle Goldheart. And right there, in one of the messages was a detail only one person could have known. She turned slowly toward Leah. "You told people I was at that studio last week?" she asked, her voice low but sharp. Leah blinked. "What?" "No, of course not." Cardi threw the paper down. "Then how's she know?" "You was the only one with me that night." Leah's eyes filled with tears. "Cardi, I swear it wasn't me." Marco tried to step in, raising his hands. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We can verify, but Cardi wasn't hearing it." "First Derek, now this." She shouted. Everybody around me turned fake. She kicked the coffee table, sending the papers flying. Leah stood up, shaking. "You think?" Leah stood up, shaking. "You think? I'd ever betray you after everything? After all them nights on tour? All the times I had your back?" Her voice cracked, and for a moment, Cardi hesitated. But before she could answer, her phone buzzed again this time. A message from an unknown number. It read, "Stop looking. Or the next leak won't be about your tomato, be about you." Cardi froze. "What the hell is this?" she whispered, showing the phone to Marco. He frowned, taking it from her. "This number's encrypted," he said, scrolling. "No caller ID, no location." Cardi's heart raced. "Somebody threatening me now?" She muttered. Leah looked terrified. "You think it's Derek?" Marco shook his head. "No, this is someone else. Someone with real power." Meanwhile, across the city, Derek sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel tightly. He hadn't slept either. His motel room had been broken into during the night, nothing stolen. It's just his laptop moved slightly, like someone wanted him to know they'd been there. His phone vibrated again. Another message from Elle Woods. "Meet me at the warehouse by the docks." "Come alone." He cursed under his breath. Every instinct told him it was a trap, but he couldn't ignore it. If he didn't go, he'd always be looking over his shoulder. If he did, maybe he could finally end this nightmare. Back at the hotel, Cardi's paranoia was spiraling. "What if they watching us right now?" she said, pacing near the window. Marco sighed. "That's just the stress talking." But Cardi pointed to the smoke detector. "You see that? That little red light? What if that's a camera?" Marco exchanged a glance with Leah. "You're overthinking?" "No, I'm not." She snapped. "This whole thing started with people spying on me, and now I'm supposed to believe it's all in my head." Leah stood up cautiously. "Maybe we should just get out of here. Go somewhere private." Cardi nodded. "Yeah, pack the bags. We moving." An hour later, they were in a black SUV heading out of downtown Los Angeles. The city stretched out behind them, bright and buzzing. But inside the car, it was silent. Cardi stared out the window while Marco made calls, trying to arrange a discreet place to stay. They decided on a private house in Malibu, owned by a friend of Marco's. It was quiet, gated, and off the grid. But peace was the last thing waiting for them there as the car pulled up the long driveway. A car flashed its headlights twice from the distance, then drove off. Cardi noticed it immediately. "Who's that?" she asked. Marco shrugged. "Probably just neighbors," but Cardi didn't believe it. Her gut told her this was far from over. That night, as everyone settled inside the house, Cardi stepped out onto the balcony to clear her head. The ocean waves crashed below, the wind whipping her hair across her face. She pulled her hoodie tighter and took a deep breath. For a moment, she felt calm. But then she heard a sound-soft footsteps on the gravel path below. She froze, peering down. Someone was standing by the gate. She couldn't make out their face. It's just a tall figure wearing a dark jacket. Her pulse quickened. "Marco." She called out. No answer. She turned and ran back inside. "Somebody's outside," she shouted. Marco and Leah rushed to the window, but when they looked, the figure was gone. "We need security," Leah said quickly. "We can't just hide out here." Cardi nodded. "But who we gon' call? I can't trust nobody." Meanwhile, down by the docks, Derek arrived at the warehouse. It was nearly midnight. The place was dark, except for one flickering light near the entrance. He stepped inside cautiously, Lara. He called out. No answer. He took another step, his shoes echoing on the concrete floor. Suddenly, a voice behind him said, "You shouldn't have come here." He spun around. It was Lara Woodstall, composed, wearing a black coat and dark sunglasses even at night. "What's going on?" he asked. "Why you threaten me?" Lara tilted her head. "You've caused a mess, Derek. Cardi's panicking, her team's unraveling, and now you're talking to the press." Derek's voice rose. "You made me do this. You said you just wanted a few clips, nothing serious." Lara smiled coldly. "I said I wanted a story, and I got one. But now you're part of the story too." He took a step back. "You're not going to use me anymore," he said. "I'm done." Lara's smile didn't fade. "You think you can walk away from this?" she said softly. "You don't even realize who's behind it all." He frowned. "What do you mean?" Lara sighed. "You think I'm the boss here? I'm just the messenger." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "The real one giving the orders is someone much closer to Cardi than you think." Derek's eyes widened. "Who?" But before she could answer, a loud crash echoed through the warehouse. The light flickered out. When it came back on, Lara was gone. Derek's phone buzzed again. A new message appeared. "Leave the city now." He didn't wait to question it. He ran out of the building, jumped into his car, and sped away. Heart-pounding dot at the same time. In Malibu, Cardi's phone buzzed again. Another anonymous text. "Stop digging, or someone you care about will get hurt." She stared at it, her hands trembling. Leah looked at her. "What is it?" Cardi didn't answer. She just whispered, "They watching us." But what she didn't realize was that the message wasn't just a threat, was a warning. Because the person pulling the strings wasn't far away at all. In fact, they were closer than she could ever imagine. Closer than she could ever imagine. And as the waves crashed against the cliffs below, a black car parked quietly at the edge of the property, its engine humming softly in the dark. Someone inside watched the house through tinted glass, a faint red light blinking from a camera lens mounted on the dashboard. The game wasn't over. It was just getting started. The next morning, Cardi woke up to chaos once again. The sun had barely risen over the ocean when Marco's phone started ringing nonstop. She stumbled out of bed, her head pounding, and walked into the living room to find Leah and Marco already arguing. "What happened?" she asked, her voice groggy. Leah turned to her, eyes wide and red from crying. "They posted another one," she said. "Another leak." Cardi frowned. "What you mean another one?" Marco handed her his phone. On the screen was a headline that made her heart drop. "Exclusive footage, Cardi B in private argument over secret deal." Below, it was a short video clip, grainy, but clear enough to see her yelling at Marco inside a hotel room weeks earlier. Her voice filled the air. "You said we wasn't doing that contract, Marco. You said it was a setup?" And his voice replying, "I told you it was complicated." Cardi's hand shook as she lowered the phone. "How did they even get this?" she whispered. Marco was pacing. "This ain't from Derek. This is from inside management servers. Somebody hacked our files." Leah looked terrified. What if they not hacking? What if they already had access? The room fell silent. Cardi's mind started spinning again. "You saying someone from the label?" Marco nodded grimly. "It's possible. But whoever it is, they want you destroyed." The leak spread like wildfire. Within hours, talk shows were replaying the footage. Gossip accounts were dissecting every word, and fans were torn apart online. Some defended her, saying she was a victim of industry betrayal. Others accused her of faking the drama for publicity. Hashtags like #CARDI scandal and #betrayed by her own started trending. As the noise grew louder, Cardi's anger turned into something darker: determination. "I'm not sitting here waiting to get played again," she said, slamming her hand on the counter. "We find who's behind this. Tonight." Marco sighed. "Cardi, this is bigger than us. We don't even know who to trust anymore." She glared at him. "Then we start with what we do know. Derek said someone else was pulling the strings, right? Maybe he's finally ready to talk. Leah bit her lip. You really think he'll answer you after everything? Cardi shrugged. He better. She grabbed her phone and dialed his number. To her surprise, he picked up on the second ring. His voice was hoarse. You shouldn't be calling me. Cardi didn't waste time. Who's behind it, Derek? You said it wasn't you, that someone else was running things. I need names. He hesitated. It's not safe to talk on the phone. Then where? She demanded. There was a long pause. Meet me where it all started, he said finally. The hotel tonight. But come alone. The line went dead. Marco immediately objected. You're not going. But Cardi was already heading for her bag. You think I'm gonna let somebody play me like this? Nah, I'm getting my answers. Leah followed her to the door. What if it's a trap? Cardi looked over her shoulder. Then I'll walk right into it. Night fell fast over Los Angeles. The hotel looked almost too familiar, its golden lights reflecting off the wet pavement. Cardi wore a hoodie and kept her face low, slipping through a side entrance. The lobby was quiet, a sharp contrast to the chaos from a few nights ago. She rode the elevator up to the top floor, her heart thudding with each passing second. When the doors opened, Derek was waiting. He looked rough, tired eyes, bruised knuckles, wearing the same hoodie from before. You came, he said softly. Cardi folded her arms. You said you had something to tell me. He nodded and pulled a small flash drive from his pocket. Everything's on here. Recordings, documents, transfers. It's not just the label, it's someone inside your personal circle. Someone feeding the label information for months. Cardi's throat tightened. Who? She asked. Derek looked at her with regret. You won't want to believe it. Before he could say more, the elevator behind them dinged. Both turned. The doors slid open and Marco stepped out. Well, he said quietly, I guess the show's over. Cardi froze. What are you doing here? She whispered. Marco smirked slightly. You didn't really think you could figure this out without me knowing, did you? Derek tensed. You set this up, he said. Marco shrugged. You shouldn't have gone to the press, Derek. You made it messy. Cardi's mind was racing. It was you, she said slowly. All them leaks, all them fake statements, you. Marco sighed, almost looking bored. Don't make this dramatic, Cardi. You were out of control. Every move you made was costing the label money. The leaks kept you relevant. It kept the machine running. She took a step forward. You played me. You used me. His jaw tightened. I managed you. Derek stepped between them. You're done, Marco. I got the proof. He held up the flash drive. Marco's smirk faded. You really think you're walking out of here with that? Before anyone could react, two men in dark suits appeared at the end of the hallway. They weren't secured, at least, not for the hotel. Marco glanced at them, then back at Cardi. You should have stayed quiet, he said. Now it's too late. Panic surged through Cardi's chest. Derek grabbed her arm. Run, he shouted. They sprinted down the hall as the men started after them. Cardi's heart pounded as they burst through a service door, racing down a stairwell. Behind them, footsteps echoed louder and louder. What's echoed louder and louder? What's the plan? She gasped. Get this to the media, Derek said, clutching the flash drive. It's the only way to end it. They burst through a side exit and out into the rain. Headlights flared at the end of the alley. Derek shoved the flash drive into Cardi's hand. Keep it safe, he yelled. The next moment, tires screeched and the sound of a gunshot cracked the air. Cardi screamed as Derek stumbled, clutching his shoulder. She helped him to the car parked nearby, fumbling with the keys he'd given her. Stay with me, she shouted. He gritted his teeth. Don't stop, no matter what. The drive through the city was a blurring, traffic lights, sirens in the distance. Cardi's hands trembled on the steering wheel as she tried to process what had just happened. Beside her, Derek faded in and out of consciousness. It's all in there, he muttered weakly. The money, the contracts, the manipulation, everything. You gone? Be okay? She said, forcing her voice to stay calm even though tears streaked her cheeks. Just hold on." By the time she reached a small safe house on the outskirts of the city, he was barely conscious. Leah was already waiting there, having tracked her phone. "What happened?" she cried. Cardi handed her the flash drive. "We got it. It's Marco." As dawn approached, Cardi sat beside Derek, who was bandaged up on the couch. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. He gave a faint smile. "I owed you the truth." An hour later, Cardi's team uploaded the contents of the flash drive anonymously to the press. Within minutes, the story broke. Leaked emails, wire transfers, and recordings confirmed Marco had been secretly profiting off every leak. Coordinating with media insiders to stir controversy and keep her name trending, the internet exploded. Fans flooded her socials with messages of support. Other artists came forward, admitting they'd faced similar manipulation. Marco's accounts were locked, and his lawyer issued a vague statement about ongoing investigations. But Cardi didn't celebrate. She just sat quietly by the window, watching the sunrise. Leah approached her gently. "You did it," she said. "You finally got the truth." Cardi shook her head slowly. "Yeah," she said softly, "but it cost too much." The scandal would dominate headlines for weeks. Interviews, lawsuits, public apologies, everyone wanted a piece of the chaos. Derek recovered slowly, clearing his name in the process. Cardi rebuilt her team from scratch, vowing never to be blindsided again. Yet sometimes, late at night, she'd look at her phone and think about all the messages, the lies, the betrayal. She'd remember Laura Woods, who vanished without a trace, and the men in suits who were never identified. There were still questions that no one could answer. One evening, months later, as she was leaving her studio, a car drove slowly past her. The window rolled down just enough for a voice to whisper, "Told you it was bigger than you think." Then it sped away. Cardi stood frozen for a long time, her reflection shimmering in the glass door. She knew the nightmare might not be over, but this time she was ready, and as she walked back into the studio, determination burned in her eyes. Because no matter how deep the lies went, one thing was certain: nobody was ever going to control her story again. And that, y'all, is where the madness stands. Cardi B, her ex-security guard Derek, the vanished journalist, and a manager who played her like a chess piece. What started as a shouting match in a hotel hallway turned into a full-blown storm of betrayal, secrets, and survival. And even now, with Marco exposed and the flash drive out in the open, fans are still asking the same question. Is this really the end, or just the calm before something even bigger? Because if we've learned anything from Cardi, it's that nothing stays quiet for long. Some insiders swear more files are out there. Hidden somewhere, proof that this story goes even deeper than anyone's admitting. Others claim Derek's disappearance wasn't random, and that Marco wasn't acting alone. Fans are split. Some say Cardi's finally free. Others think the game's still being played behind the scenes. One thing's for sure, though. The internet's watching every move. So what do you think really happened that night? Was Derek the real hero? Or just another player in the chaos? Did Cardi win the war? Or is there still more drama waiting to unfold? Drop your theories in the comments right now. We want to know what side you're on. And if you love keeping up with all the wildest celebrity twists, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next drop. Trust me, the Cardi B saga might not be over yet. And when the next chapter hits, you'll want to be the first to know.